McPhaidin, he's here to talk about all things movies. And Collie, it's good to have you back in studio. It seems like forever.
It's been a while between summer breaks and everything else, and there's been so many movies coming. Some of them have come and gone, and some of them are still hanging around to catch up on, even before we talk about what's coming up for the rest of the month.
Yeah, so let's just give a very, very super quick recap on what we might have missed in our downtime.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure people have missed a couple of these because they've been so popular. And look, we're going to talk in a minute about an original movie that might be struggling to find an audience because people aren't sure, well, I don't know what this is about. I'll watch it again. There's no doubt about it. We're still in sequel heaven because Downton Abbey is packing them out, Rory. It is a foolproof thing. And the other thing is everyone wants to stay in they don't want to just go and see it. They want to dress up and go out to watch it properly and go to the VIP lounges and that sort of stuff, because everyone fancies that they're upstairs, even though I know myself and most of my relations here in Donegal, we would have been very much the downstairs people in these movies, but people never imagine that. They go, imagine living in that life. They never think that they're the ones cleaning the boots for the Lord, do they?
Exactly,
we always imagine, but like this is a formula. And look, I try not to be cynical about things. I always look for reasons to like movies. I have to admit, Downton leaves me cold, but I'm okay with saying I'm kind of wrong on this one, or I'm not wrong because it's just my personal opinion. But I can see people love it. And I love that people love it. The cinema I work in, a woman came in and said the last movie she saw in the cinema was when she brought her kids to see The Santa Claus in the States. I reckon that's about
1994.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I was going to guess 1994. Yeah, that was the last time. And she just said, look, I hear it's the last movie and I want to see it in the cinema. And she was saying how, she didn't know how to book tickets anymore. She was there, but she said, I heard you have a posh room. And I went, well, yeah, it's a bit more pricey. She goes, give me the posh room.
Oh, she is going all in.
She is going. And look, and it probably is, a little bit of, it does exactly what it says on the tin. There's no real surprises in the movie. And again, I'm not being negative there because I think that's what a lot of people want. And I wonder, is it a thing? We talked about this last time when we were talking about Superman and Fantastic Four being a bit more positive than some of the superhero movies have been. Times are tough at the moment. When we switch on the news, it's pretty grim. And this sort of old world classiness that the problems are, well, the Daily Mail has a bit of a scandal about it, but what if the family all pull together and get together and the good old servants won't let you down? That there's something in that. Along the same lines, The Conjuring has been a huge hit, an absolutely huge hit. It's the fourth The Conjuring movie, but it's like the 12th in the whole horror series.
The whole universe, yeah.
And again, okay, it is scary and so on, but I suppose it's a formula and people know this is a good Friday night out and this is what they like.
Safe.
This is safe and that's what they want to do. And they pretty much know where the story is going. Do you know what I mean? And they go, I am guaranteed that my €12 or whatever, I know I'm going to get value for money, and it's not taking a risk. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way, but I think that is probably a factor. So The Conjuring has done very well. Downton Abbey has done very well. But this week we have a new movie out, which we were just talking about slightly off air, which is Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie, two of my favourite film stars, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think both of them maybe have been in a bad movie, but I don't think any of them they've ever been bad in a movie, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And they're in this new movie called A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. You were saying your social media is just slammed with it.
Yeah, for some reason it's getting shoved in my face, left, right and centre. And I have to say, whether it's clever marketing or whatever, but it actually does, it's appealing to me. I remember looking at the second or third time it appeared on the screen in front of me, I was like, I think I'm going to go and see that.
And that's good. That's good, because I was wondering, I might have to tell you about this, because it is a risk for Sony, because it is a new story. It is saying, come on a big, bold, beautiful journey. Even the title is kind of odd. It sounds a bit Trumpy is the only thing. But it's not called 2 or 3 or 4, or it's not, continues. So they're trying to get it across. And it is a bit of flight fancy. Now, I watched this yesterday. I really enjoyed it, Rory. And what it is Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie are these two single... Okay, it's hard to believe Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie can't get a date for a wedding, right? But yeah, that's the only bit I didn't believe. The time travel I was fine with. But and they meet up and they've got this sat-nav that seems to be magical and it's kind of putting them together, right? And they come to these places where they have doors into their past and they travel through. And like, I already know some people are going, sure, that sounds awful silly. These are the same people who saw The Conjuring and go, I wonder how much of those ghost stories are real, because it just says at the start, this is a real story. No, it's not. None of it happened. But none of this happened either. But they're saying this is a way of thinking about it. It's almost like, it makes it sound more serious than it is, like therapy. So they go back to relive moments of their past. And part of it is about being content rather than perfect. And I was thinking that you and I, sometimes when we review stuff, particularly maybe when it's the superhero movies, the stuff we really love, sometimes our hopes are so high that when it's not brilliant, sometimes we talk about it and it's almost that it's rubbish. And I remember when we were talking about Superman the last day, just as we finish up, you said, I must stop and go, I did enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought. Yeah. Because we were so excited about it, it sounded like we were being negative. And I think this movie is suffering from that a bit, because it's not a brilliant movie. It's just really good and really enjoyable.
And an original story. Well, when we say an original story, I'm just from your description of it, the synopsis I've read, what I've seen in the trailers, it might be an original story, but it's a familiar concept. Formula. A little bit of Christmas Carol. You know? Back to the Future's in there, the time travelers, Yeah, and it's all about that sort of thing. Would you some of those movies were going back in the past to change things, and this movie, maybe the concept is more: would you change things? Should you change things? Are we who we are because of the mistakes of the past? And what would you change and what wouldn't you change? And and the answer is some things you would and some things you wouldn't. And two really engaging stars, and both of us, maybe it's because we like the superhero stuff, but Back to the Future, that's where you have to go, okay, that wouldn't happen in real life, but I'm going to go with it. That both of us saw the trailer and went, oh no, I think I'd be into that. And I must admit, as I said, the two stars are so engaging. And more importantly, for my cousins up in the Rosses, up in Annaghra, up around Gweedore, one of the songs in it is Connacht Lost an Oar by Clannad. Like, one thing having Clannad in a big Hollywood movie, right? But a deep cut from 1973, 74 from Clannad 2, I'm pretty sure, which was on rotation. One of the albums my dad had at home that was an opera. And I was just listening to it going, I can't believe that. And I waited till the end credits going just to make sure I was right. Yeah. So look, it's clearly people of great taste, is all I'm saying. And if you did want to take a big, bold, beautiful journey and take a risk this weekend, rather than going to the sequels, as good as they are, I would recommend this. As I said, it's not a 5-star movie. It's probably a 3.5. But wow, on TV we settle for way less than 3.5-star movies all the time. And as you quite rightly pointed out, it's probably one of these movies that in 5 years' time we're going to be sitting down and watching it on Netflix and going, that was really good. And they sure don't make them like they used to. About Time is one of those. People didn't go and see it in the cinema at the time. Now it's one of the favourite movies always referenced at weddings. Yeah, it's what we'll be looking back in 5 as a cult hit. Yeah, as a cult hit. All right. See it now. Let's take a quick ad break. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about some worthy Oscar contenders. Is that right? Okay, so we're going to do that right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Get ready, Donegal. The big Highland Bingo Party is here.
On Saturday the 29th of November, the Villa Rose Hotel, Ballybofey, transforms into the wildest Christmas party of the year.
Hosted by me, Keith Fletcher, Lee Gooch and Marty Friel on the decks.
Think festive cocktails, classic party anthems, ridiculous games of course, and mad bingo mayhem.
Loads of prizes on the night with the €1,000 top cash prize up for grabs.
You better be quick. Tickets are on sale. Grab yours on Eventbrite or check out HighlandRadio.com.
The big Highland Bingo Party. Over 18s.
Ha-ha! It's bingo, but not as you know it.
Liven up more fajita nights for less with these Lidl Plus Super Savers. Slice, sizzle and save with succulent Borbia approved chicken fillets, 1 kilogram, 25% off, now just $7.49. And turn up the taste with fresh, vibrant red peppers, 40% off, now 59 cents. Simply scan, pay and save with Lidl Plus.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
It's the 2025 World Chip Sizzle Freestyle Contest, and Charlie's Chips are in the lead again. They're coming up to the finishing pan and... Charlie's Chips are the 2025 World Champions. Sourced locally, hand-cut and freshly cooked. Served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish or delicious chicken. Open Tuesday to Saturday 12 to 8 and every Friday for breakfast from 9. Take away or sit in. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
This way. While you're here, we know we've a lot to get through. Searching for low prices shouldn't be one of them. That's why Screwfix check prices daily on over 1,000 essentials and basics. Screwfix, low price, checked.
You're listening to Rewind with Rory Farrell on Highland Radio. Good morning!
Rory Farrell Saturday morning, going back in time. Highland Radio.
The time is 10 minutes to midday. We are talking all things movies, and Collie McPhaidin is in studio with me, and we are going next to a possible Oscar contender with this sort of sidelined me a little bit. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in The Smashing Machine, and an Oscar contender. You reckon?
I do. Now, I haven't seen it yet. It comes out in a couple of weeks, but there are strong Oscar pushes for... Do you know why? There's a couple of ways we know that it's an Oscar contender, because in this one he's listed just as Dwayne Johnson. He's not The Rock, because this is serious acting. And he's playing the part of a guy called Mark Kerr. Now, I don't know how much you know about your MMA and stuff like that, early days. It's not mine. I'm a big sports guy. It doesn't do it for me. But at the start of MMA, when stuff was pretty wild and rough, and it's pretty wild and rough now, but it was kind of less organised. This guy was a massive star. His name is Mark Kerr, but he had a lot of problem with addiction issues, as well as making a comeback to win the trophy. And he was very famous in the realm, apparently. And there was a documentary made about him in about 2003, I think, called The Smashing Machine, which was a huge indie hit. And apparently The Rock has fancied doing this for years. And in this one, like, he's almost unrecognisable. Aside from, like, he's actually had to bulk down a little bit, because an actual fighter's build...
Quite a lot, actually, from what I've seen,
a fighter's build wouldn't be the same as a big muscly action hero, you know? And he's a wig on and lots of prosthetics. And it is a serious role and drama. And he's persuaded Emily Blunt, who he's good friends with, because she did a couple of the fun, silly blockbusters in it, you know, an Oscar winner herself, to come and play the role in it. And it's really highly tipped. It got a 15-minute standing ovation in Venice. Now, they do that. It's all over the top. But the fact that, 15 doesn't really matter. But the fact it got like more than 5 matters. That people are really into this. And I think it has that crossover, because it's a true story, so it appeals to a lot of people. It obviously has, the biggest action star in the world, but people love to see people change sometimes, like to try these things. So you get the Rock fans, you get the serious fans of MMA, and you get people who just are curious into interesting movies. And it's kind of slowly going down that this was a big hit. But we were talking about social media. In the next couple of weeks, you're going to see this ramp up, because they are making a serious play for Dwayne Johnson to win the Best Actor.
Do you think it will? Do you think this might suffer from the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in the lead role, purely because, he is the biggest... he's the biggest or the most highly paid movie star in Hollywood at the minute, has been for some time. He sort of had a bit of a reputation for not saying no to any script, no matter how ridiculous,
how much is what he said,
how much he had to suspend belief. So most of the stuff we would have seen him in up until now, they're big budget special effects movie, mad stuff, daft stuff sometimes. Do you think audiences might find it a little bit difficult to get past that?
Well, I think so. And I think maybe that's where the prosthetics help a bit, to make not just that he looks more like the guy, but he looks less like The Rock. Although I remember a famous movie critic comparing him to Daniel Day-Lewis and saying, look, I think maybe The Rock could do a Daniel Day-Lewis movie, but I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis could fist bump a giant ape. And I went, I see what you mean. I don't think he could jump off a building in the same way. But I think that's the case. So I think you're going to see lots of very serious interviews where Dwayne talks about his past and that he grew up broke and all that sort of stuff, rather than The Rock. I'm back to save the day. It's going to be glasses on and very serious.
Much Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, very Dwayne Johnson, serious voice. And yes, thank you very much.
So that is one to watch then. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that one. Another possible Oscar contender, DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And One Battle After Another. When's this out?
This is out next week. And again, this would be more typical Oscar because Paul Thomas Anderson, who made like There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights and all that, always worth watching. And Leonardo DiCaprio, always up there in the best Oscar ones. But the fact that himself and The Rock are going to go ahead together is quite interesting. And this is a movie about Leonardo DiCaprio just wants to. He's almost like the dude in The Big Lebowski, except less funny. He just wants to sit around and take substances and do nothing. And then his daughter is kidnapped, and it turns out they were all part of a kind of revolutionary group when they're in their 20s, and they have to get back together to go. So it's kind of a serious action comedy drama. And I probably wouldn't have mentioned it only for I wanted to mention with The Rock, but it's getting 5 stars, like from everything, from the serious, Financial Times sort of stuff to the what's good crack in the cinema stuff. It's getting 5 stars anyway. And I actually read in the Times yesterday, the Irish Times, your man said, look, to be honest with you, I heard all the good reviews and I wanted to be the grumpy critic who said it was rubbish, but it's not. It's really good. Okay. And I think this is going to be what should have been an indie hit might actually be a big hit as well, hit, because it seems to be
look at the cast. I mean, you've got DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall.
Yeah, like proper actors. But apparently it is, sometimes you go, oh yeah, but we were talking about Grim Times and you go, oh, I don't know if I want to see a very serious movie at the moment. But it's funny and exciting as well. And like one of the big clips is a pregnant lady firing a machine gun, using her bump as a base for the gun, and you just go, this looks like one of the maddest things we might see. So there are 2 really interesting movies coming out because we're coming out of blockbuster stuff. We're not quite into Christmas. Soon we'll be talking about Christmas blockbusters like Wicked and Zootopia and all that sort of stuff. But we're in this kind of interesting period where there's lots of, we wouldn't say small movies because these all would have cost $100 million, but more interesting, different movies. And it could be a fun time to go to the cinema.
Seems to be striking the balance quite well between serious and a little bit of everything in there. And you drop a movie like that at just the right time, with things the way they are in the world at the minute. And some of the biggest movies of all time became so big because they dropped just the right time.
The right place at the right time. And I think these might be a couple of these, and we might still be talking about them when we're talking next month. Just very quickly, can I also say, for 3 days only next weekend, Hamilton is in the big screens. Now, because it's been on streaming before and so on, I didn't think, it's 10 years I think since the play came out in Broadway, or had the first Broadway. I didn't think it'd be that big. Almost sold out everywhere, because maybe it's because they said 3 nights and 3 nights only. And the last time we were on, we were talking about Jaws, and I was saying, I wonder how big it will be. People come. Massive hit. Went to number 2 in the worldwide charts.
There you go.
Jaws, 50 years old. So it's good to show you that there is still that audience of people go, I don't care that I've seen it before. I've never seen it in a massive screen.
Yeah.
So Hamilton's 3 days only, and it's going to be really, really big.
Okay, good stuff. Collie, thanks as always for joining us. Lots to keep us occupied on the big screen over the next month. We'll see you in
about a month when we'll be talking about Bruce Springsteen, I think.
Yeah, okay, looking forward to that. So Collie, thanks for joining us, and that's my lot for this morning as well. Thanks to everyone who got in touch with the show with the requests, dedications, the wonderful suggestions for music as well. Big thanks to Roisin for her help on the programme. Katie on her way with a news update for you, followed by Paul McDevitt with the Saturday Shuffle. He'll take you through for the next couple of hours, and I will talk to you next Saturday morning. We'll rewind all over again from 10 to